Welcome back to English Active Listening. I'm absolutely thrilled to jump into part 4 of our deep dive into how to speak English fast and understand native speakers. If you've been with us since the beginning, you know we've already uncovered some fascinating secrets about the real-world flow of English, like those sneaky weak forms, how words link together, and the magic of elision and assimilation. Today, we're not just scratching the surface. We're diving even deeper into the very heart of natural English conversation, unlocking more of those hidden keys to sounding authentic and truly catching every single nuance of what you hear. You know, so many of you reach out to me, sharing that even after years of dedicated study, native speakers can still sound like they're speaking at warp speed, or even in a secret code. The truth is, textbook English is a fantastic foundation, but it's often quite different from the dynamic, fluid, and frankly, human way we communicate every single day. So, if you're ready to unlock even more of those hidden keys to sounding authentic and truly catching every single nuance of what you hear, then buckle up because this episode is for you. Today, we're going to explore some really crucial elements that tie everything together. First, we'll talk about the incredible power of intonation. It's more than just a melody, it's meaning itself. Then, we'll dive into the genius of thought groups, which are like the invisible punctuation marks of spoken English. We're also going to push beyond the basic contractions and look at some advanced blends that native speakers use all the time without even thinking. And finally, we'll truly understand the unique rhythm of American English and why it sounds the way it does. These aren't just grammar rules. These are the heartbeat of the language, and mastering them is what truly makes English come alive. All right, let's kick things off with something incredibly powerful that often gets overlooked. Intonation. We spend so much time perfecting individual sounds, which is great, but intonation, that beautiful rise and fall, the melody of your voice, is just as, if not more, important. It's the secret sauce that carries emotion, conveys meaning, and even tells your listener whether you're asking a question, making a statement, or expressing a hint of doubt. Think of it as the emotional soundtrack to your words. Consider this. The exact same words can take on completely different meanings just by changing your intonation. Let's take a super simple phrase. He went. If your voice rises at the end, it instantly becomes a question, right? It expresses surprise, maybe a little disbelief, like, wait, he went? Are you serious? But if your voice falls, it's a simple statement confirming that he went. Yep, he went. See how much power that simple pitch change holds? Native speakers use these subtle shifts constantly, often unconsciously, to convey complex ideas without adding a single extra word. It's like a secret handshake for meaning. Now, let's break down the most common intonation patterns. First, there's falling intonation. This is your go-to for statements, commands, and most WH questions. You know, words like who, what, where, when, and why. It signals a sense of finality, completion, or directness. Your voice starts higher and drops down at the end. For instance, if you say, I'm going home, your voice falls at the end, sounding definitive. Or, what's your name? The pitch drops as you ask, indicating a direct question seeking information. Similarly, close the door, a clear command, also uses a falling tone. When you hear a falling intonation, it's generally a signal that the speaker has finished their thought or is providing clear, definitive information. Your brain can then process that chunk as complete, and get ready for the next idea. Then we have rising intonation. This is the pattern for most yes, no questions, expressing uncertainty, surprise, or even gently prompting someone to continue speaking. Your voice goes up at the end of the phrase or sentence. Think about it. Are you coming? Your voice rises, expecting a yes or no. Or if something surprises you, really? The pitch goes up. Sometimes a sharp rise on a particular word can convey disbelief or shock, like, you did what? As a listener, a rising intonation often means the speaker is looking for a response, needs clarification, or is indicating that there's more to their thought. It's like an open-ended invitation for you to engage. And finally, there's fall-rise intonation. This one is a little more nuanced, but incredibly important for subtlety. Your voice falls and then rises again within a phrase. It's often used for incomplete thoughts, reservations, or when you're not entirely sure about something. It implies a, but there's more to it, or this is what I think, but I'm open to other ideas. For example, if you say, it's good, but your voice falls on good, then rises slightly on but, subtly suggesting a hidden negative or qualification. Or if you say, I might come, the voice falls on might, and then rises slightly on come, indicating uncertainty, not a definite yes. This pattern is crucial for picking up on those subtle cues. If someone says, it was interesting, with that fall rise, they probably mean it was not entirely positive, or there's a catch they're not explicitly stating. Pay really close attention to these. They often reveal the speaker's true feelings or intentions, even if the words themselves seem neutral. The absolute best way to master intonation is through active mimicry. Don't just repeat the words you hear from native speakers. Try to repeat their melody. Record yourself and then compare your voice to the original. Use apps or websites that can show you pitch changes. When you're watching your favorite English show, pause and try to imitate the character's intonation. Does the character sound angry, sarcastic, excited? A huge part of that emotion is conveyed through their intonation. By recognizing these patterns, your brain will start to process information much more efficiently, significantly reducing that overwhelming feeling when you hear fast speech. Now, let's talk about something incredibly vital that helps everything flow. Thought groups. Have you ever noticed that when you read, there are commas, periods, and other punctuation marks that help you break down sentences into manageable pieces? Well, in spoken English, we have something similar, but it's invisible. A thought group is essentially a short phrase or clause that expresses a single coherent idea. And here's the magic. Native speakers don't speak word by word. They speak in these natural chunks, taking tiny, often imperceptible pauses between them. This, my friends, is absolutely, unequivocally critical for both speaking fluently and understanding rapid conversation. Imagine trying to read a book where all the words are mashed together, with no spaces, no punctuation. It would be a nightmare, right? That's exactly what listening to a native speaker can feel like if you haven't grasped the concept of thought groups. But once you realize that they're actually delivering information in these bite-sized, manageable units, everything begins to click into place. It's like someone just added spaces and commas to your listening experience. So, what makes up a thought group? First, each one typically conveys one main idea, a single clear piece of information, even if it's just part of a larger sentence. Second, within each thought group, there's usually one stressed word, which is the most important new word. often a noun, a main verb, an adjective, or an adverb. Third, and this is the real secret sauce, there are brief, natural pauses between thought groups. These aren't dramatic stops. They're like tiny commas, giving both the speaker a chance to breathe and the listener a split second to process that chunk of information before the next one hits. And finally, each thought group often has its own mini intonation pattern, a little melody that leads into the next group. Let's look at an example to really nail this down. Take the sentence, I went to the store to buy some groceries in for dinner tonight. I went to the store. That's our first thought group, conveying where you went. Then, to buy some groceries. Our second thought group, explaining the purpose of going to the store. And finally, for dinner tonight. Our third thought group, giving the reason for the groceries. Notice how you naturally pause, ever so slightly, after store and groceries. These aren't long, dramatic hesitations, but subtle breaks that effortlessly segment the information. If you were to say it all in one breath, without any pauses, it would be much, much harder to follow. I went to the store to buy some groceries for dinner tonight. See how that sounds like one long, confusing word? So, how do thought groups transform your English? For speaking, when you consciously start speaking in thought groups, you'll immediately sound more natural, less robotic, and much more articulate. You give your listener just enough time to process what you're saying. Plus, it helps you manage your breath control, preventing you from running out of air mid-sentence. For listening, this is a huge game changer for comprehension. Instead of frantically trying to catch every single individual word, your brain can focus on understanding the meaning of each chunk. When you hear a slight pause or that subtle shift in intonation, your brain instinctively knows that a new idea is about to be introduced. This makes fast speech incredibly more manageable because you're processing information in digestible, meaningful packets. As a practice strategy, when you listen to any native speaker, try to consciously identify where they take those micropauses, even if it's just a tiny breath. If you have transcripts, try marking these pauses. Then practice reading aloud, deliberately breaking your sentences into these logical thought groups. Start with simpler sentences, then gradually challenge yourself with more complex ones. This practice literally rewires your brain to process English not as a dizzying string of isolated words, but as a series of connected, understandable ideas. Now, let's push beyond the basics and talk about some truly advanced contractions. We're all familiar with the standard ones, right? I'm, you're, they've, don't. But here's the thing. Native speakers use a whole universe of other contractions, often blending words together in ways that can be quite surprising if you're not used to them. These are often called informal reductions, or blends, and they are incredibly common in everyday conversation. In fact, they're a major reason why spoken English can sound so fast and why many learners struggle to keep up. Mastering them, however, will give both your speaking and listening skills a huge boost. Let's dive into some of these examples that go way beyond the usual. One of the most common is gonna for going to. This one is almost a separate word now, it's so widely used. You'll hear, I'm gonna go to the park, instead of the more formal, I am going to go to the park. Then there's wanna for want to, as in, do you want to grab some coffee? Instead of do you want to grab some coffee? You'll also frequently hear gotcha for got you, meaning I understand or I caught you. For example, oh, gotcha. now I get it. Another one is dunno for don't know. I don't know what to tell you. We also have lemme for let me know when you're ready, and gimme for give me. Can you give me a hand with this? You'll also encounter hafta for have to, as in, I have to leave early today. Interestingly, this also applies to has to, which often sounds like hasta. She has to finish this report by 5. We often hear outta for out of, like I'm outta here, or we ran out of milk. Then there are the subtle ones like kinda for kind of. It's kinda cold outside, isn't it? And sorta for sort of. I'm sorta busy right now, can I call you back? And here's a really big one. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. These are reductions of could have, would have, and should have. The have completely reduces, often just to a soft sound, or even disappears entirely. So you'll hear, I coulda gone with you. You shoulda told me sooner, or he woulda helped if he knew. You'll also encounter blends like what'ya for what do you, or what did you. This is a blend of what and do did and you, so you get, what do you want for dinner? Or what do you do yesterday? This often involves that D and E blend we talked about with assimilation. Similarly, there's didja for did you. Did ya see that movie last night? And woulda for would you. Would you mind passing me the salt? So why do these occur? It's all about efficiency and ease of articulation. It simply requires less effort for your mouth to say gonna than going to. Sounds flow more smoothly. There's less stopping and starting. Native speakers aren't consciously trying to shorten words. It's a natural evolution of sounds in rapid, informal speech. When you're learning, how should you approach them? First, don't force them. The goal isn't to always use these. In formal settings, you definitely avoid them. But in casual, everyday conversation, they are expected and make you sound much more natural. Find that balance. Second, prioritize comprehension first. When you hear gonna, don't get stuck trying to decipher every single sound. Quickly recognize it as going to. Your brain needs to learn to map these reduced forms back to their full meanings instantly. Third, listen actively and identify patterns. Pay very close attention to how native speakers use these in context. Notice when and where they appear. This will build your intuitive understanding of when they're appropriate. And finally, start incorporating them gradually. Once you feel confident recognizing them, try using just 1 or 2 in your own casual conversations. I wanna and I'm gonna are fantastic starting points because they are so incredibly common and widely accepted. Now, let's talk about something truly foundational to how American English sounds. It's rhythm. English is what we call a stress-timed language. This means that the time between stressed syllables in a sentence tends to be roughly equal, regardless of how many unstressed syllables are packed in between them. This is a crucial distinction from syllable-timed languages, like Spanish, French, or even some dialects of English, where each syllable takes approximately the same amount of time. This characteristic of English rhythm has a profound impact on how words are pronounced, how they connect, and ultimately why fast speech sounds the way it does. It's the underlying beat that dictates the flow. Let's break down the key principles of stress-timed rhythm. First, stressed syllables are king. These are the VIPs. Stressed syllables are pronounced more clearly, with a higher pitch and greater intensity. They carry the main meaning and stand out. Second, unstressed syllables are reduced, or even squashed. The syllables that fall between the stressed ones get squashed, shortened, and often have their vowel sounds reduced, frequently turning into that lazy schwa sound /u/. This is exactly where weak forms, elision, and assimilation come into play. They exist to speed up the unstressed parts so that the next stressed syllable can arrive right on cue. Third, we're maintaining a consistent beat. Imagine a drummer keeping a steady beat. The stressed syllables are your strong, clear drum beats. The unstressed syllables are the quick, light taps that quickly fill the space between those strong beats. The time between each strong beat is relatively consistent. Let's illustrate with an example to make this crystal clear. Consider the classic phrase, "The cat sat on the mat." The words that carry the most meaning, the stressed words here, are cat and mat. The unstressed words are the, sat, on, and thee. If you tried to say every word with equal emphasis, like a robot, the cat sat on the mat, it sounds incredibly unnatural, choppy, and very, very slow. In natural, stress-timed speech, it sounds more like, the cat sat on the mat. Here, the reduces to the, or even just they. Sat often reduces its vowel slightly and blends seamlessly with on. On reduces to a soft /un. The, again, reduces to the. The key here is that the time it takes from the strong beat of cat to the strong beat of mat remains roughly the same, no matter how many little, reduced, unstressed syllables are squeezed in between. So, what's the impact on your listening? This stress-timed rhythm is a huge reason why native speech can sound so fast. Your ears might be trying to process every single syllable, but many of them are barely there. When you understand that unstressed syllables are intentionally minimized, you can stop trying to catch every single one. Instead, you can focus your attention on the prominent, stressed syllables that carry the most crucial information. Your brain can then confidently fill in the blanks for those reduced, unstressed sounds. It's a massive leap in comprehension. And what's the impact on your speaking? To sound truly natural and fluent, you need to adopt this rhythm yourself. First, identify stressed words. In any sentence, think about which words are the most important. These are usually your content words: nouns, main verbs, adjectives, adverbs. Give them the emphasis. Second, reduce unstressed words. Actively practice reducing the vowels in the unstressed words, especially those function words like articles, a, the, prepositions, on, in, conjunctions, and, but, and auxiliary verbs, is, are, have. Many of these will naturally reduce to that schwa-u sound. And third, practice rhythm, not just speed. Don't just try to speak faster. Focus on speaking with a more consistent, natural rhythm. Emphasize those stressed syllables, and then quickly, lightly, glide over the unstressed ones. Here's an exercise. Take a common sentence like, I want to go to the store. First, identify your stressed words. Want, go, store. Now, practice saying the unstressed words very quickly and lightly. I, to, thee. Finally, put it all together, maintaining that rhythm. I want to go to the store. This takes conscious effort and deliberate practice at first, but with consistent repetition, it absolutely becomes automatic. This is perhaps one of the most advanced yet fundamental concepts we've covered so far. But mastering it is truly the key to unlocking genuinely native-like pronunciation and effortless comprehension. All right, my active listeners, now that we've really dug into these fascinating linguistic concepts, let's turn our attention to some practical, advanced strategies for training your ear to understand fast, natural English. Because knowing the rules is one thing, internalizing them so you can process them in real-time conversations is a whole other ballgame. This is where your ear becomes your best friend. One powerful strategy is an advanced form of shadowing. We've chatted about shadowing before, where you listen and speak simultaneously with a native speaker. But let's refine it. This time, don't just repeat words. Really, truly try to match their intonation, their rhythm, and every single reduction or blend you hear. Find a short audio clip, maybe 20 to 30 seconds, from a podcast, a movie scene, or a YouTube video. Listen intensely, multiple times. Then, try to speak at the exact same time as the speaker, mimicking every single nuance. This is incredibly challenging, but it forces your brain to engage with the actual sounds of English, not just the individual words. It's a powerful muscle builder for your ear and your mouth. Next, consider focused transcription drills. Instead of just general listening, pick a very short segment of natural conversation, say 30 seconds to a minute. Listen repeatedly, perhaps 10 or 20 times, and try to write down exactly what you hear, including all those tricky contractions and reduced forms. Don't worry about perfect spelling at this stage. Focus purely on the sounds. Then compare your transcription with an official transcript, if you can find one, or even use AI transcription tools. You will be absolutely amazed at how many words you thought you missed were actually just reduced sounds or words that were blended together. This exercise makes you acutely aware of what your ears are not currently picking up on, making you a much more targeted listener. It's also crucial to master the gist. This is huge. Don't get hung up on understanding every single tiny word. Native speakers often use a lot of redundancy, and frankly, not every word carries crucial information. Train yourself to focus on those stressed words and the thought groups we discussed. If you happen to miss a weak form, or a minor conjunction, or a tiny preposition, don't panic. Your brain is incredibly powerful and can often infer its presence based on the context and the surrounding stressed words. The ultimate goal is to understand the main message, the core idea, not to perfectly decode every single sound bite. Always leverage contextual clues to your advantage. If you hear a reduced form or a word you don't quite catch, the surrounding words, the speaker's tone of voice, their body language, and the overall situation will usually give you strong clues. For example, if someone says, "I don't know," and they're shrugging their shoulders, the meaning of "I don't know" is crystal clear, even if you didn't perfectly hear every sound. The more you immerse yourself in authentic English, the better you'll become at instinctively using these invaluable clues. Remember to vary your listening material wildly. Don't just stick to one type of content. Listen to podcasts on completely different topics. Watch various genres of movies and TV shows. Listen to interviews, casual vlogs, even debates. Each context will expose you to different vocabulary, different regional accents, and different speeds of delivery. The broader your exposure, the more adaptable and resilient your listening skills will become. It's like building a diverse linguistic muscle. Finally, practice active prediction. Become a mind reader. As you listen, try to actively predict what the speaker might say next, based on the context and the beginning of their sentence. This isn't about always being right, It's about keeping your brain actively engaged and anticipating common phrases, idioms, and sentence structures. This anticipation dramatically reduces the cognitive load and makes it much easier to process information quickly when it actually comes. All right, my active listeners, learning to speak and understand fast, natural English isn't just about mastering linguistic rules. It's profoundly psychological. Many learners get frustrated and eventually give up because they feel like they're not making progress fast enough, or they compare themselves too harshly to native speakers. This is precisely where embracing imperfection and even the beautiful messiness of learning becomes absolutely crucial. First and foremost, remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Please be kind to yourself. Acquiring truly natural pronunciation and effortless comprehension takes time, often years. You've been speaking your native language your entire life. Give English the time, patience, and persistent effort it deserves. Celebrate every single small victory. Understanding a new contraction, noticing a specific intonation pattern, or successfully using a thought group in your own speech. These small wins build momentum and keep you motivated. Next, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Embrace them. Let's be real, native speakers make mistakes all the time. We mispronounce words, make grammatical errors, hesitate, use filler words. It's all part of natural human speech. Don't let the fear of imperfection paralyze you. The more you speak, the more opportunities you create for yourself to learn, adapt, and improve. Mistakes are not failures. They are stepping stones on your path to fluency. Your primary, overarching goal should always be communication, not perfection. If people understand what you're saying and you understand what they're saying, you are succeeding beautifully. Perfection is an elusive, often unrealistic, and frankly, unnecessary goal. Those human-like expressions we talked about earlier come from being comfortable, confident, and willing to simply engage, not from being flawless. Consider finding your language tribe. Practicing with a native speaker, or even an advanced learner who can provide supportive feedback, is incredibly valuable. They can gently point out areas where your rhythm or intonation might sound a bit off, or where your reductions might sound unnatural. Online communities, language exchange apps, or local meetups are fantastic resources for this. And finally, stay endlessly curious. The English language is a living, breathing thing, constantly evolving. Remain curious about new expressions, current slang, regional variations, and cultural nuances. The more genuinely interested and curious you are about the language and the cultures that speak it, the more you'll enjoy the process, and ironically, the faster you'll learn and adapt. All right, my amazing English active listening community. We've truly covered some deep ground today in Part 4. We've explored the powerful emotional and semantic role of intonation, demystified the clarity that comes from understanding and using thought groups, pushed beyond basic contractions to those essential advanced blends, and truly understood the fundamental stress-timed rhythm that defines American English. And let's not forget those crucial advanced listening strategies to sharpen your ear, along with the vital psychological aspect of embracing the journey with confidence and kindness towards yourself. Always remember, the ultimate goal isn't to become a robot simply mimicking sounds. It's about understanding the beautiful, intricate system that makes English flow so naturally. When you truly grasp these concepts, you're not just learning words. You're learning the very music of the language. And that, my friends, will not only make you sound significantly more like a native speaker, but more importantly, it will drastically improve your ability to understand them effortlessly in any real world conversation. Keep practicing, keep listening, and keep challenging yourselves. The more you expose yourself to natural English and actively try to implement these powerful techniques, the closer you'll get to speaking English fast and understanding native speakers with genuine ease. If you found this video helpful, please give it a huge thumbs up. Share it with your friends who are also on their English journey. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to English Active Listening for more valuable lessons like this. Make sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss Part 5, where we'll continue to refine your skills and unlock even more potential. As always, you can find me on Instagram at English Active Listening for daily tips, quick lessons, and a behind-the-scenes look. Thank you so much for investing your time with me today. You're doing great, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.